He got it up into the wind, and it just kept going. 7-6 Giants.
NBC Sports Bay Area Giants rally for the win, and they take game one. The Cubs have the third worst record in the National League. Can you believe that?
I can.
Now, there's also we told you yesterday, every team except Colorado and Miami is basically in it in some form. They're all within 2 games of the last wild card spot.
If they go on the 5-game winning streak, they'd be at top of it.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's a little weird.
Close together. Yeah.
They're all bunched up. They're all together. But come on now. Come on. Catcher's interference, a walk. Craig Counsell had said afterwards, really the only bad at-bat to bat, the only bad plate appearance was the five. I think it was a 5-pitch walk to. Was it Yastrzemski? I think it was to Mike Yastrzemski. Catcher's interference, he can't do anything about that. The expected batting average on that fly ball, did you hear what it was?
No.
050.
050 on that fly ball that got out of the park. You get something in the air when the wind's blowing out, what happens?
And that's what Counsell said. He goes, that's a bad night to get the ball to let somebody get the ball in the air.
Yeah.
They're lost. They don't know. They don't have answers.
No, there's no answers.
I mean, what do you do? The expected batting average off the bat was 050.
Mm-hmm.
And it cost the Cubs a game. They still struggled to score, even though they finally opened it up a little. I don't know if you saw the inning where they did the damage. There was a bang-bang play at first that the Giants maybe should have challenged and could have won. They didn't. You got the first baseman and I think it was Estrada. Letting the ball drop between them on poor miscommunication.
This team scores 6 runs. They expect to win.
Well, yeah, you're right.
They expect to win. The Cubs scored 6 runs. I think they expect to win. They didn't. 5 games below 500.
It's getting weird now, too. Every little thing that can go wrong is going wrong. Again, a catcher's interference, all of a sudden, now there's one out and there's a runner on. Then there's a walk. Then there's a ball that's hit in the air and the wind pushes it out. It's just weird. And Craig Counsell afterwards said that there's really no plans on removing Neris from that role. Here was the manager afterwards.
Look, we got a bullpen. We got to find guys to get outs. And Hector's been a guy that's been reliable for us. So I wouldn't anticipate doing that. I mean, we're going to, always examine every best way to get 27 outs every day. And we're going to need Hector to be a part of that.
I wouldn't anticipate doing that. Are they that thin? There's no other option? Do they have to go out now and try to add somebody that can help fill that void?
Yeah.
No options.
There's no options.
So you got to keep going out there with heart attack Henry.
On a stick, yeah.
Heart attack Hank.
That's what you've got to do. It's the way it is. It's a terrible loss. It's terrible.
It's bad.
It's awful. When you lose that way, it's awful. Because you do everything right for the better part of the whole game, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's gone. It's done. Stick a fork in you. It's over. Yeah, it's a heartbreak. It's a heartbreak. And then you walk around there, and the same way they did it in the Natural, my favorite sports. Losing is a disease as contagious as syphilis and the common cold, right, Carm?
Yes.
It just, you start thinking about it. How are we going to blow this one today? How are we going to screw this one up today? And that's the funk they're in right now. They got to find a way to get out of the funk.
Don't you start thinking about Leiter or somebody else? I mean, what do I know? And I don't watch every Cub game as closely. I watch more than is my want as normal because we do this for work. But I mean,
they've already done that this year, right?
What other options are there?
Azalea started as the closer. He got hurt.
That didn't work. Well, it didn't work, and he got hurt.
And then he got hurt.
Correct.
Right? So then got hurt.
Wisniewski doesn't seem like a guy you want to trust in that kind of leverage right now.
No.
Leiter's probably been their best reliever, I would guess. Do you try the new kid Miller? I mean, I don't know. I feel like
and nobody wants to take over in a dirty inning. Dirty inning. Nobody wants to take over in a dirty inning. I want a pristine inning. I shan't have a dirty one.
You shan't, Jurko. You shan't. I still can't get over it. The exit velo on the home run was only 98.7, and again, the expected batting average was 0.50.
That's 1 of 20, right? That's 1 of 20. Well, that's the one.
That's the one.
The ball got high enough.
True,
the ball got high enough.
That's the one.
Got into the wind, and boom, there you go.
All right, Cub fans, if you want to react to last night, and I think they've already been frustrated, and a lot of Cub fans were venting their frustration with us yesterday, and with Waddle and Sylvie. Sylvie was hot and had a passionate rant about this team.
Right.
He said, not that, you need to go in there and start flipping tables, but where is some of the passion? Where is some of the fire? Where is hey, it starts with, if Dansby Swanson, it starts with me. I haven't been good enough. Got to be better. With Counsell showing a little emotion. And that's never really been his style. I think this is just kind of Craig Counsell. And Cub fans are probably getting a closer look at it for the first time ever. Just because he managed in the division doesn't mean you know him quite as well, right? You're not. Yeah. Now when he's managing your team, every little thing is going to drive you crazy. Every decision that doesn't work or that backfires is going to drive you crazy. And then he is very sort of monotone and, I don't know, maybe he's just measured. That's the nice way to put it. Or he's a little monotone and plain about his.
Did he become a bad manager? Is that what happened?
Of course not.
Did he come to Chicago just become a bad manager?
Of course not.
No.
Of course not.
No. You got the same baker that can only bake what he has, the ingredients he has with him, right?
Yeah.
You got rotten cherries and you're trying to make a cherry pie. It doesn't matter what kind of chef you are. You're going to make crappy cherry pie. That's
true.
what you're going to do.
That's true.
Right? You got bad apples. You got no cinnamon. How are you going to make yourself an apple pie? Right? You can't.
Can't do it.
Can't make apple pie.
Without cinnamon, can you imagine?
Yeah. Now, what are you going to do with this team that they have? It's a flawed baseball team. Again, everybody looking at Counsell. Nobody looking at Jed. Jed gets the pass.
Jed talked yesterday.
Yeah.
He talked. I mean, he talked pregame, so there's really nothing about the issues with this bullpen. They have almost as many blown saves as the White Sox.
Who got hurt yesterday?
Did
you see that?
Who got hurt?
Talkman.
Oh, Talkman got hurt?
Yeah, he got himself a little bit of an issue running down to the base paths.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to be like the White Sox. Every time they run the first base, they got a problem.
I don't know. They've blown almost as many games as the White Sox. You don't want to be in company with the White Sox.
No, you don't want to have anything to do with the Chicago White Sox.
So the real recurring themes have been, the state of the struggling offense, but failing even when you get a lead late to close those types of games out. And with just a handful of outs to go, to not be able to close it out in your ballpark. When you've sort of been listening here, not good. Here was Jed pregame talking about the state of the offense and this team right now.
It's been, since our high water mark, it's been 46 games, and in that time, we're at the bottom, and that doesn't work. We have to find a way to hit effectively. It's just not, we're not going to be the team we want to be until we start clicking offensively, and that's where we have to keep having discussions with hitting coaches and with the hitters and try to solve this, and I think we've all come to the ballpark many days thinking today's the day we'll finally break out and get things rolling, and it hasn't happened yet, and it needs to happen.
Kind of happened a little bit yesterday. Most runs they've scored in a game since they played the Sox, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Still didn't matter at the end. Here was Jed talking about this roster. He still believes the answers to the winning formula are together on this unit. It's just about putting it together. This was Jed pregame.
There's a point at which in the season that you look outside for answers, but if you think about what a 6-win player is worth a win a month, right? And the collective is worth so much more than that. Collectively, this group has kind of failed to produce for the last 46 games. We had a really good offense last year. We had a really good offense in April. Since then, we have not hit, period. And no one player is going to change that. We have to, this collective group has to figure this out. And it doesn't mean there won't be additions, but the answers have to come from within. And like I said, there's no reason to believe this group suddenly forgot how to hit. But certainly it's been a longer down spell than expected. I think everyone goes through ups and downs for a season. This is a much longer trough than we ever expected.
All right, so who's going to step up and carry them? Because they don't have anybody on this offense right now that seems capable of doing it.
No,
you got a bunch of guys that have been okay, right?
Yeah.
Bellinger's been okay. You expect more, though, when you're paying a guy almost $30 million, right?
$27.5 million, Carm.
Suzuki's been, I'd say, okay to even borderline pretty good, but maybe you still expect a little bit more from him. Maybe in terms of the slug. Happ's coming out of it. It was just such a bad start. His numbers don't look great, but he has been much better the last month, and he had a big home run last night. I mean, he's been one of the guys that has been a little bit better. Morel goes through these dramatic ups and downs.
Right. Morel's your top home run guy.
He is. He is your top home run guy.
Top home run guy. Morel's your top RBI guy. And he's second in runs. So Morel, whether anybody likes it or not, has been probably your best.
He's still got a 90 OPS plus,
Yeah.
though, you know?
And he's 674 on his OPS.
Yeah. The on-base percentage is 300.
Yeah, well, his average is 196. It's 100 points above.
It's 100 points above.
It's 100 points above, but it's
So at
not
least-
quite enough.
But yeah, exactly. That's just it. I mean, at least there are 34 walks in there that boost it way up. Like you said, 100 points more, 105, 104, 5 points more. So that's at least somewhat of a good sign. But when your BA's lower than 200, that's not. And he's prone to these big up peaks and valleys.
Bellinger was banged up.
A little bit.
So it's tough to judge Bellinger because he's kind of been beat up a little bit. I'm looking at Tauchman. He's going to be gone here for a little bit, depending upon how bad whatever he did yesterday was. Bush, the guy that came over from the Dodgers, serviceable.
He and Saya have your best OPS pluses right now. Those two. Right? Out of all the regulars.
Yeah. I'm looking at WAR right now, Carm.
What is it good for?
1.5. Ian Happ and him at 1.5.
There you go.
That's what you have for your WAR. Those are your winning players. How can you have a losing team and some guys have winning WARs?
Well,
I mean, you got a team. Somebody's responsible for the 5 losses, right? The way they make it seem, it's like nobody's responsible for it. Shouldn't your wins and losses be equal as far as like above replacement? What are they? Above 500? They're below 500.
I know.
Doesn't make any sense, Carm. For me.
I never really thought of it that way, but Mike Trout used to have like a 10 WAR season, and his team was 20 games below 500.
Shouldn't they be 10 games above 500? Or shouldn't a correlating factor be a handful of players being 16 games below? Negative numbers, negative WARs?
I don't know. I've never really
I just
thought
would
about
want it
that.
to balance out.
I've never really thought about
Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. The OPS plus makes sense.
It does. It does.
Okay, that's the average player at your position. It's 100. If you're better than the average player at your position, how much better are you?
So
27%.
You're saying as a team, the Cubs have 5.8 wins above replacement. But remember, that's just above a replacement level player. That doesn't mean above 500. You know what I mean? That's above a replacement level. That's above basically a AAA player.
But the number with OPS plus is easier to understand and easier to correlate.
That's a great number.
Than it is because there's no correlating factor that takes you under if a team is miserable.
That's a great number to look at, OPS plus. You're right.
That's why I think WAR is garbage.
Well, I don't know if it's garbage, but it doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all. They're looking for a 6 WAR player to add to this team to help them, to drag them out of it. Pete Alonso might be the guy.
That's who I want.
Well, at least there's some slug and there's some power.
I want the great Pete Alonso. Hold on. I got those two. Then I got Assad. What is he? His WAR. 2.4. This team should be in first place by 12 games. The hell am I looking at?
Again, though, you're making the assumption that 1.5 wins above replacement means above 500.
All you're telling me is there is a direct correlate. There's not a direct correlation to the wins and losses.
No. Because, again, like you'd have like those seasons where Trout had 9 or 10 WAR and the team was 20 games below 500. 312-332-3776.
But if the other 24 players added up to that,
but they don't.
Then it makes sense.
Yeah, but they don't.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll start taking some Cub calls. I know Cub fans are getting a little fed up with all this, and it's just a team that's what now? I think it's 13-25 over its last 38 games. 13-25. I don't know that anybody expected a stretch like this from the Cubs. Didn't expect to see them sitting in last place in the division, 8.5 games back of the Brewers. Well into June now, when we have, we're before you know it, it's going to be halfway home here, Yerk. We're more than 40% through the season.
That's what you're going to have. You're going to have the All-Star break come up.
Yeah.
And usually at the All-Star break, you're about, 90 games in?
Usually, give or take.
90
Yeah,
games
you're going to be more than halfway through before you know it. So we'll grab some calls. Cub fans, are there any answers? Are they on this team? Are they outside the organization? What would you do at the back end of that bullpen? Council says no plans on changing right now. How long can they continue this, though? 312-332 ESPN. We'll be right back.